registrar. So the registrar actually pays ICANN 18 cents, almost 18 cents. It varies from one top-level domain to the other. But it's, let's say, 20 cents on average. So the registrar pays ICANN 20 cents per domain name per year. Okay, so it is actually the domain name registrations that make, the ICANN budget. In addition to that, registries and registrars who are in the business of the domain names, they also contribute some annual amounts to ICANN, so this also adds to the ICANN budget. And then there are other groups who voluntarily contribute to ICANN, so they're not obligated to contribute to our budget, but they volunteered to contribute. Some, for example, country code top-level domain operators, they contribute to ICANN budget. The RLRs, the regional internet registries, also some of them contribute to our budget, but these are voluntarily contributions. But the main bulk of the main portion of the budget comes through domain name registrations, whether through our registrations as end users or through the contributions made by registries and registrars. Any more questions? Okay. All right. So on the resolutions, the answer is yes. There are board resolutions that come after each board meeting, whether this board meeting takes place at an ICANN meeting or not. So the board of ICANN meets 6 times every year. 3 times during ICANN meetings and 3 times outside ICANN meetings. And after each ICANN board, there are board resolutions that are published and are available for the public. And again, you can search, if you go to the ICANN.org and in the search bar, you just search board resolutions, you will get to the page where the board resolutions are published. On the second part of the question, this is a very important question about decision making and who has the power to change decisions within ICANN. So I can spend maybe 10 minutes to answer this question, but I'll try to be brief. So basically, the ICANN board, as I mentioned earlier, is the decision-making power within ICANN. However, 2 years ago, ICANN community had been working on enhancing ICANN accountability mechanisms. Okay, enhancing mechanisms that make ICANN more accountable to the community. And one of the very very complicated discussions that took place back then was regarding the power of the board versus the power of the community. Just briefly, basically what the community needed was they needed more power. They thought that ICANN board has all the powers, and community did not quite like that, and they needed some power. So they developed new mechanisms whereby, for example, they can revert any decision made by the board. The community, through some mechanism, they can force the board to revert its decision and go back and start having more discussions around this issue with the community. The community also has the power today to recall the entire board. So again, through some mechanism, they are able to say, okay, the board is not serving the community well, and we want to recall either one or more board members to the extent that they could recall the entire board. Okay, so today there is a power balance between the board and the community, and this is something that was introduced only a couple of years ago in 2016 during a long process of improving and enhancing ICANN accountability. Now, regarding members, we don't have members, like United Nations members. No, we don't. But we have community members in the sense that we have governments who are members of the Governmental Advisory Committee. We have businesses who are members of the business constituency. We have country code top-level domains who are members of the country code name supporting organization. We have individuals and organizations who are members of the at-large and so forth. These are all members of ICANN. But we don't have membership fees. We don't have, so it's not like like one member, one vote, like the UN. No, it's not that. So I hope this answers the three different questions that came. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'll take 5 more minutes. I'll be quick. One key project that ICANN has been working on for the past 3-4 years is what we call universal acceptance. Universal acceptance is the concept whereby all top-level domains, should be treated equally. With that, I mean, today we have new top-level domains. We have .news, .media, .paris, .abu Dhabi, names in Chinese and Urdu and Farsi and so forth. So what has been, the internet community has been witnessing in the past few years is that many of the online systems that exist today, like online banking or e-commerce, or if you go and sign up with any online service and put your email, if your email is registered under one of the top-level domain names, many of the online systems today do not recognize those top-level domain names, and you will get a message saying that, sorry, we cannot recognize this email, which means that top-level domains are not treated equally. Online systems do recognize top-level domains like com.net.org or UKAF, country codes, but they do not recognize, some of them, actually many of them, do not recognize top-level domains in Arabic or in Chinese or any other language. So ICANN, and this slide, this slide actually depicts the issue. The row, the above row shows a system that is universal acceptance ready, because domains like soap or Tokyo in Japanese, or you go to your bank account, bank.com, you put your Japanese email address, and your bank account accepts the email. Whereas on the bottom row, you go to the same bank.com account, you put your Japanese email, and the bank says not a valid email address. So this is basically what universal acceptance is. So ICANN has launched a steering committee called Universal Acceptance Steering Group 3 years ago. It's a group of technical experts from a range of organizations to raise awareness and provide solutions for the universal acceptance issue. The good news is that the technical solution is very simple. It's a matter of changing a few lines in your code, software code, and then your system will be UA ready. And of course, you can learn more about the work that's going on under UASG.tech. So you can see that .tech is one of the new top-level domains. The other key project that ICANN is working on is what we call the KSK rollover, or the key signing key rollover. Some of you might have heard about a technology called DNSSEC. Okay, DNSSEC stands for DNS Security Extensions. It's a technology that was introduced almost 10 years ago to add more security to the domain name system. Okay, it's basically built on the cryptography, key cryptography system, like the public keys and private keys, whereby you can encrypt the DNS data. So DNSSEC has been there for a long time. What is new today is that ICANN is embarking on a process to change the main key, the main public key of the DNSSEC. It's called the key signing key. It's like, when we tend to explain this in very simple terms, it's like changing the password of the DNS, of the entire DNS, okay? So as much as the process sounds very simple, it's also very complicated and very huge, because anything that goes wrong in this process will cause damage and will cause harm to some people. Some people will get disconnected if something went wrong. So it's a very complicated process. ICANN was supposed to change the password or to run over the key signing key last year, but the deadline of the process was delayed because we got information from some technical folks that some of the DNS resolvers around the world are not ready for the update, so we decided to delay or to postpone the signing. Today, the signing is set to take place on October 11, so in almost 5 or 6 months from today. This is the date we have today, and our technical teams at ICANN are working closely with the technical community around the world to ensure that the KSK rollover will go smoothly. I think I'm done. This is what I want to share about these two projects. Of course, you can read more about them online, and also if you want to reach out to me directly, I put my email on this slide, so please feel free to reach out to me directly on anything. And again, if you have more questions or comments, I'm still available to take them. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the organizers for inviting me to speak to you today, and I wish you a very successful event. Thank you. Well, thank you, Walid. Thank you again for the invitation, and thank you for you and Shafid for facilitating this session. My best wishes, and have a good day. Thank you. Deployed, and the network back then, which again at that time was not known as the Internet, but the network back then started to use the domain system in 1985. The DNS, in a nutshell, has two main components. One is the resolvers. These resolvers exist on our computers, and what the resolvers do is that they send queries to the DNS name servers. So when you try to, for example, access a website, something.com, for example, so your computer sends a query to the nearest name server asking for the IP address or the Internet Protocol address of this something.com. So the other part is the name server, and this is the part that responds to the query. Of course, there are different configurations, and oftentimes networks would have DNS caches to cache DNS data. So if you have the information cached in the network, the name server will not have to go somewhere outside the network to get the information and so forth. But the basic configuration, the basic components of DNS are the resolvers and the name servers. This is how the any kind of say Internet address looks like. The first part, the part starting from the left-hand side, the first part is the protocol, HTTP. This is the web protocol. The S, the letter S in red, is for security. Okay, I just realized that Walid was saying there was a little bit of noise. Is there still noise, Walid? If you can let me know. Okay, good. So the protocol part is the part on the left-hand side, and then the domain part is the part on the right-hand side. So the part at the very right, okay, or this is what is called top-level domain, and there are top-level domains like org, net, com, and so forth. And then as we go to the left-hand side, this is what we call the lower level domain, whether it's second level, whether it's third level, and so forth. So ICANN is org, ICANN is second level, this is the domain, and org is the top level domain. And any domain name would look exactly the same as the one you see on the screen. Now we're going to see types of domain names. Until 7-8 years ago, domain names used to exist only in ASCII, or only in the basic Latin characters. These are characters like, letters from A to Z, or numbers from 0 to 9, or the hyphen. and that was all about, domain names. Of course, the internet itself as a global environment, as a global tool, has been used by billions of people around the world, and the majority of those people actually do not speak or understand English. And therefore, there was a need for the DNS system to recognize and understand characters in different languages and scripts. And ICANN, together with the IETF and other organizations and groups in the technical community, had worked for a long time on developing a solution whereby the domain name system can handle domains in different scripts. And in 2010, ICANN launched a program called the Fast Track Program, whereby countries around the world can get their country names as top-level domains in the local script. So, for example, Egypt can get .Egypt in Arabic, and Pakistan can get .Pakistan in Urdu, and so forth. And this program started in 2010, and today we have over 40 countries or so who have their top-level domains in their native languages and scripts. So having domain names in different scripts is called internationalized domain names, or IDNs. So today, it's very common that you see domains in IDNs as well as domains in ASCII. For example, those who live in China, they use domains in Chinese much more often than domains in Latin. Same for those in Japan, Korea, Russia, and so forth. Maybe it's less used in the Arab or the Arabic-speaking communities, but the IDNs have existed for almost 8 years now. Of course, the long-term sort of goal of IDNs is to allow billions of people around the world to be able to use the internet fully in their native languages. So it's not only the content that could be in the native language, but also the address, the domain name itself is in the native language. Of course, you can imagine all kind of business and marketing opportunities arising around this. In general, there are two types of domain names. There are generic top-level domains. These are domains like com, net, org, the legacy domains, .edu, and so forth. These domains have existed since 1985, when the DNS was first deployed. After ICANN was established, there were two rounds of new gtLDs, whereby private companies and organizations applied to operate new top-level domains, names like DIZ, info, museum, pro, cat, jobs, mobi, post, and so forth. These domains have existed now for over 15 years. They might not be as popular as .com, but they're still, hosting over, like .info, for example, has over maybe 5 million domains. So some of them are quite big. And of course, the main reason why new top-level domains are being introduced One is to introduce competition in this space between the operators or the registries, and two is to provide the end users, to provide us with more choice when it comes to registering domain names. So, for example, if you have a small business in Afghanistan, of course, you have the option of registering your domain name under .af, because this is the sort of national domain of the country, and since your country is established in Afghanistan, it's always good to have a domain name under the country code. But you may also want to have a domain under one of the generics. And people usually go with .com as a first choice. Of course, .com is the largest, by far the largest top-level domain on the internet. But the issue with .com is that it has become saturated. So if your company is called, for example, Tech Solutions, for example, probably techsolutions.com as a domain name is already taken. So to provide people with more choice, ICANN has, in 2013, ICANN has launched the third round of new top-level domains. This time, the round was quite open for anyone who can meet the criteria of the new gtLD program with the right business model and so forth. Anyone can apply for a new top-level domain. This program has resulted today in more than 1,200 new top-level domains. So the domain name space has grown from being a space for about 250 country codes plus 22 generic top-level domains to today it's something like 1,500 top-level domains, 1,200 new top-level domains plus 300 country codes and old generic top-level domains. These new top-level domains represent many different categories from generic names like for example .cars, .movies, .hotels. Some represent community names and geographic names and city names like Paris, NYC for New York City, London, Berlin, Dubai, Istanbul. Some represent brand names like Google, IBM, BMW, HSBC, and so forth. So there are a variety of top-level domain names today that would allow end users who want to register domains for their own use to be able to pick the top-level domain that suit their needs best. So if you are in the hotel business, you can register under hotels. If you are in the, for example, media business, you can register under .media or .news. And so forth. If you are, a citizen of a city that has a top-level domain, you can register your business under the city name. So there is much more variety nowadays for end users and registrants to register their business. So this is the first type. The generic top-level domains is the first type. The other type is country codes, and of course these are two-letter codes that represent country names like IN for India, CN for China, AF for Afghanistan, and so forth. And as I mentioned earlier, we have over 40 countries today with the top-level domains in their native script. So you can find many in the Middle East region, from Pakistan, Iran, and many Arab countries, but you can also see Russia, you can see Ukraine, you can see India. Actually, India got more than 7 names. If you can see almost, in the middle of this map, there are like 7 names listed. These are all for India, and some more in the Asia Pacific region. So this is, in a nutshell, what the DNS is. What the difference between generic top-level domains and country code top-level domains, ASCII versus IDNs, and so forth. I'd like to pause here for a minute or so just to check if there are any questions or comments. If there is something that is not clear, or if you have any question. Okay. So regarding Afghanistan in the local language, there is a process for applying for Afghanistan. The process, I can send you the link after the session, but in a nutshell, the process has to start with a request coming from either the government of Afghanistan or an entity that has been delegated by the government of Afghanistan to apply for .Afghanistan. So if the government is applying, then they're going to send this request to ICANN. ICANN will respond with the list of requirements. And then the applicant will work on this list of requirements. And the list of requirements is basically to make sure that the applicant has the technical capability of operating this name. And of course, the applicant also has to show some sort of community support, that the applicant is applying to operate in Afghanistan, to serve the needs and to serve the public interests of the local community in Afghanistan. So some supporting letters from local community, like from business, from ICs, from academia, NGOs, and so forth, would be required as well. If the applicant is not the government entity, then and it's another non-government entity, then the applicant will have to submit whatever that proves, like a letter or a certificate, that proves that the applicant has been authorized by the government to apply for this top-level domain. So there is a process in place, and I'm happy to share with you the details of this process. I can share it with Walid, and then Walid may forward it to whoever is interested. I hope this answers the question. And to the other part, no, I'm not aware of any entity in Afghanistan that has applied, but again, because the requests do not come to me, it goes to another department, so I may need to double check, but as far as I know, I'm not aware of an application from Afghanistan up until now. Thank you. Okay, there's another comment. A few words in Afghanistan that are similar to Iran and Arab countries. Applying for gtLD, like those, if someone does not from one countries as well. Who gets the priority? Okay, so this is this is a very good question. So there are two things. Okay, one is if two entities, if two different entities are applying for the same, exactly the same, okay, exactly the same top-level domain through the same, like Walid mentioned that there are letters or characters, used in Afghanistan. They look exactly the same as like the A and the cat and so forth. They look exactly the same like characters that we use in Arabic or characters that are being used in Farsi in Iran and so forth. Then this is a slightly different situation, and this is what we call the variance. Okay, the variance mean that there are domains that are variants to each other, because those domains, they look exactly the same, but actually for the computer system, for the Unicode, they're not the same. They have different Unicodes, right? So ICANN has started a project more than 3 years ago to deal with the IBM variance issue. There have been language groups in the different parts of the world working on this issue. For example, there is one for the Arabic script. We have a task force for the Arabic script IBMs, and this task force has been working for the past 3 or 4 years on developing what we call the rules for using variants in the domain name space. So this is a slightly complicated issue, but again, if there are anyone or if there is anyone interested in learning more about IBM variants and how issues pertaining to characters that look the same and so forth, how these issues are being dealt with, or anyone with interest in linguistics in the Arabic script, just let me know, send me an email, and I can introduce you to the task force on Arabic IBMs. It's an open task force. Anyone with the right qualifications and expertise can join this task force. Currently, it has over 40 members from across the community that use the Arabic script. And this community has people from the Arab region all the way to Afghanistan, Malaysia, and so forth. So I hope this answers the second question. Okay, another question. I have registered few Gmail accounts with the domain. Now the domain is expired. Can I reuse those emails with a new domain without contacting the domain registrar company? Well, okay, I'm not sure I get this right. So now you're saying that the domain has expired. So if the domain has expired, you will not be able to use exactly the same email addresses, okay? For example, if your email is first name dot last name at mail.com, now if mail.com has expired, then you cannot use the same email address, but you can still use first name dot last name at newmail.com, not mail.com, if you see what I mean. Okay, so you need to use emails registered under new domain, because you don't have access to, of course, unless the expired domain is still available for you to re-register. Okay, if it's available, then you can re-register the domain. If it's taken by someone else, then you won't be able to use exactly the same email addresses. I'm not sure, does that answer the question? Okay, good. Okay, good. So let's continue with, now we're going to speak a little bit about ICANN, what ICANN is, how is ICANN, structured, the different parts of ICANN, and then I'll end with the last part in which I'm going to give a couple of examples of issues that ICANN is dealing with nowadays. So basically, ICANN was established in 1998, and as I mentioned earlier, the reason ICANN was established was to introduce more competition in the domain name space, and to also develop some rules and policies around domain names. For example, until 1998, there was only one company in the world where people could register domain names with. So if anyone wanted to register .com, net, or .org domain, there was only one company called Network Solutions that people would go to register domain names, and back then domain names used to, the cost of registering domain names back then was between $50 and $100 a year, so it was quite expensive, and of course there was a kind of monopoly in this business back then. So ICANN was established to introduce competition in this field. Now, another example about developing rules and procedures and policies. Also, until 1998, there was no mechanism in place to protect intellectual property rights in domain names. For example, if you are Mercedes or BMW, okay, until 1998, anyone was able to register Mercedes.com or BMW.com. It didn't need to be Mercedes or BMW because there was no rules or policies in place to protect intellectual property rights in domain names. So this is another example for needs for an organization to develop policies around domain names. And one of the early things that ICANN did was to work with WIPO. WIPO is the World Intellectual Property Organization. It's the UN body responsible for intellectual property rights and protecting intellectual property rights at the global level. So ICANN reached out to WIPO in 1999 and asked WIPO to develop a mechanism to protect trademarks and intellectual property rights of domain names, and WIPO has developed a mechanism called UDRP. UDRP is Uniform Dispute Resolution policies or procedures, and UDRP is basically the mechanism in place today if there is any dispute over domain names registered under any generic top-level domain, not country code, any generic top-level domain, then people will go to one of the dispute resolution providers. There are currently 4 dispute resolution providers accredited by ICANN, so people could go to any of the 4 accredited providers to file a case regarding the dispute. So this is another example where ICANN or an organization like ICANN was needed back then to be established. So ICANN was established in 1998 to coordinate policies pertaining to internet unique identifiers. Those are the names, the numbers, and the protocol parameters. So the names are the main names, the numbers are the IP addresses. The IP addresses are being, policies pertaining to IP addresses are developed by the regional internet registers. There are 5 regional internet registers, one in each region of the world. In Asia Pacific, there is APNIC. So APNIC is the organization in Asia Pacific responsible for developing policies pertaining to IP numbers. So ISPs in Afghanistan, for example, would apply to get IP address blocks through APNIC. There is also RIPE-NCC in Europe and the Middle East, AfRINIC in Africa. So in my country, in Egypt, we would go to AfRINIC to get IP numbers, and then there is LACNIC in Latin America and ARIN for North America. So ICANN works closely with the 5 regional internet registries on developing policies pertaining to IP numbers. The third set of identifiers is the protocol parameters, and these are parameters needed for any internet protocol. For example, the email protocol, which is the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, SMTP. It uses port 25. The web protocol, HTTP, uses port 80. So ICANN maintains the database of these protocol parameters. And again, we do this in close coordination with the IETF. IETF is the Internet Engineering Task Force. This is the group of engineers and technical experts that develop internet standards, and they are the ones who need protocol parameters for their work. So ICANN basically coordinates 3 resources, 3 internet resources: names, numbers, and protocol parameters. Anything else related to the internet, other than names, numbers, and protocol parameters, ICANN has nothing to do with. Okay, ICANN does not interfere in anything related to content, related to spam, in relation to anything like social media, anything other than the 3 unique identifiers of the names, numbers, and protocol parameters fall completely outside ICANN's business. ICANN has 3 main components when it comes to its structure or its ecosystem. There are the 3 components are ICANN community. Okay, the community, these are the organizations, individuals, governments, businesses, NGOs, academic and research institutions, individuals. These are the thousands of people that participate in ICANN's work. Whether they come to ICANN meetings and take part in the discussion and the deliberations, or they might be participating remotely, they might be providing comments through the public comments process. There are several means of participation, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment. But this is the community, and this is the part of ICANN that is responsible for developing policies. Okay, and this is very important to understand now. ICANN as a staff Okay, and this is the second part in this chart. It's the organization. Okay, ICANN as an organization, we do not develop policies. Community do develop policies, and we as organization, as staff, we implement policies developed by the community. Okay, so once the community finalizes the policy, okay, the policies go to the ICANN board, and this is the third component of the ecosystem, the ICANN board. Like in any organization, we have a board of directors, and this is the ultimate decision power, okay, body within ICANN, okay? So once the policies are adopted by the board directs staff, directs ICANN organization to implement those policies. So you can see the triangle relationship between community, board, and organization, okay? Now, this chart shows some of the work that ICANN does, ICANN organization, ICANN as a staff, okay? We do provide support for the policy development. So there's a box there that shows policy. So our staff work as a secretariat to the community in the development of policy or policies pertaining to domain names. We do also provide technical expertise in relation to management of one of the DNS root servers. We call it the L root. Okay, root servers are the top level servers of the DNS that store data about top level domains. Okay, this is in a nutshell what the top level, what the root servers are. So ICANN does operate one of those root servers. As I mentioned before, we do work closely with the IETF on the protocol parameters. Work closely with the RLRs, with in relation to the IP addresses. We work closely with the root server operators in relation to the management of the root servers. We do provide support to different part of the ICANN ecosystem, different constituencies, from the at-large to the government advisory committee to the generic names, and we're going to speak about each of those constituencies in a moment. Now, we call the ICANN model, the policy development process within ICANN, we call it a multi-stakeholder bottom-up model, because it comes from the bottom, it comes from the community, and it comes from various stakeholder groups. Okay, government, private sector, academia, civil society, technical community, and so forth. And that's why it's called multi-stakeholder model, or multi-stakeholder approach. And I'm sure you're going to get to hear, if you haven't heard already, about the multi-stakeholder approach in this program. So ICANN presents one approach of the multi-stakeholder model. There is not a single multi-stakeholder model. This is very important. And ICANN is simply one of the approaches or the models of the multi-stakeholder. Now, the ICANN community is structured around a number of constituencies and groups. For example, if we start from the top right, you can see the ICANN at-large. The at-large community, this is the community within ICANN that represents end users. Okay, so we have thousands of people in the at-large community. Then you have the GAC, the Governmental Advisory Committee. This is the committee that represents governments. So we have over 170 governments represented within the GAC, including the government of Afghanistan. Then the Root Server System Advisory Committee, or the RSTAC. This is the committee of the root server operators. And then there's the Security and Stability Advisory Committee, and this is the committee that advises ICANN on any issues pertaining to security and stability of the domain system. And then on the left-hand side, we have three supporting organizations. One for the IP addresses, the ASO, the Address Supporting Organization, and basically it's the 5 RFRs who are represented in this supporting organization. And then we have a supporting organization for the country code, top-level domains, and another supporting organization for generic names, top-level domains. So through the supporting organizations and advisory committees, the policies are developed through different working groups, and it usually takes a long time to finalize a single policy around one topic. For example, the new gtLD program that was launched in 2013, this was the result of almost 8 years of policy development work. So sometimes it gets very complicated, and this is one of the characteristics of the multi-stakeholder model, because you have different interests coming from different groups, and there is no mechanism to make decisions other than people get together and reach consensus. Okay, so no one can vote on behalf of anyone. There is no voting system at ICANN, so it takes time to discuss things and to try to make compromises and reach consensus on those issues. Now, how to get involved in ICANN? Okay, as I said earlier, there are different ways to get involved. You can attend the ICANN public meetings. ICANN holds 3 public meetings every year. These meetings are open for anyone to attend. So this is one way. You can also go to ICANN.org and you can follow the meetings, the ICANN meetings remotely. So all ICANN meetings, they are webcasted, and people can participate actively in those meetings remotely, which means that people can take part in the discussions that are happening live, post questions, get answers, and so forth. You can also go to ICANN Learn. ICANN Learn is an online platform, a free online platform where people can enroll in courses, different courses around ICANN and internet governance. This is another possibility. We have some regional events that take part in the regions, like your event today, the School of Internet Governance. So also we always encourage people to take part in regional and national events. And you can also, there are community groups, there are working groups that work on different aspects and different issues. So you can check ICANN.org/community and see which community you think you would fit within, and think about joining this community. And of course, you can also sign up for the ICANN newsletter and receive news and updates about ICANN. So this is, again, in a nutshell, how you can get involved in ICANN. It's not that easy, it's not that simple, it requires a lot of effort, a lot of reading. But again, our job as ICANN engagement team is to help community go through this process. So try to check our website, try to check our different working groups, our different publications, and if you have any questions, just reach out to us, and we will do our best to help you. There are also programs in place to help newcomers, like there is the fellowship program that people can apply, to attend ICANN meetings. So ICANN will cover travel and accommodation costs. There is a next gen program. This program is for students between 18 and 30 years old. Again, to come and attend ICANN meetings. And there is a newcomer program. Those who attend ICANN meetings for the first time, they will get a newcomer badge, and they will have a separate track for newcomers at the ICANN meetings to guide them through the meeting and help them, understand how to how ICANN works and how the ICANN meeting, works, which session they should attend, and so forth. So again, more information about those programs are available online if you check the video links on the screen. I think I covered ICANN Learn. You can visit learn.icann.org and sign up for any course that you think is relevant to your interests, and again, it's free of charge. As I said, ICANN meetings take place 3 times a year. Last time we were in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Next time we'll be in Panama in June, and in October we will be in Barcelona in Europe. And again, if you go to meetings with ICANN.org, you will see more information about ICANN meetings. I know I'm running out of time. I just wanted to flag 2 issues that ICANN is currently working on. But again, I'm willing to pose and take questions on the previous section. And if we have time, I can quickly go through the rest of the slides. I have a couple of more slides. I can go through them very quickly, but I want to hear from you first if you have any questions or comments. Okay, difference between IANA, ICANN, and IETF. Okay, so IETF is a separate, completely separate from ICANN. IETF is being supported and funded by the Internet Society. So the Internet Society, ICANN, is the home organization for the IETF. IETF has an agreement with ICANN to coordinate the protocol parameters, as I explained earlier, but it's not part of ICANN, it's completely independent of ICANN. IANA started in the early days of the network in the 70s. The term IANA was used and was coined to refer to the technical functions of managing the resources, the names and the numbers. So the IANA as a term, as a function, had existed long time before the establishment of ICANN. When ICANN was established in 1998, okay, the IANA function was given to ICANN. ICANN was entrusted to run the IANA function. And since then, since 1998, the IANA functions have been part of ICANN, and we usually refer to the IANA functions as the technical functions that ICANN does. So ICANN does 2 things: policy work and technical work. So the technical work that ICANN does is primarily the IANA functions. Now, if you want, for example, to apply for a new top-level domain, like for Afghanistan, for the country code in local language, okay? It's you will have, at some point, you will have to go through the IANA functions, because it is the IANA function that adds the name, the new top-level domain, to the root service. Okay, so IANA functions, part of what the IANA functions, or part of what the IANA does is, to add new top-level domains to the root service. So IANA functions are part of ICANN. It's a technical part of ICANN. I hope this clarifies.